Okay, I'm in SureCuts-A-Lot 2, and I'm going to be doing the Let'sCricut.com challenge. Just to give a little bit of inspiration. My entry won't count because I am an admin over there, but I wanted to do a little bit of a neat project that not everybody would do with vinyl. So just to inspire some Cricketers out there to try something new. So I'm in SureCuts-A-Lot 2. This project can be done in Make the Cut, SureCuts-A-Lot, Fairy Cut, Cricut Design Studio. It can even be done on your Gypsy. So I am going to use the shapes over here. And now SureCuts-A-Lot 2 actually has the exact shape that I want, but I'm going to show you how to do the same thing. So I'm actually going to want this square within the square, but you can do just two squares over top of each other, which I'll show you how, or you can even do circles or hearts or the rounded edge square. So I'm just going to show you how to create the image that I want. So I'm going to click two squares, and then I'm going to use my selection tool, and I'm going to make one square smaller. I'm just going to place that in the middle. And then I'm going to click on my screen and highlight and right click and group them together. Now when I click off the mat and then click the image, there'll be one image. I'm just going to show you what the preview of that will look like. So it'll look like that. And that's what I'm going for my project. So I'm just going to delete this one, and I'm going to use the one that's already done. So I have one. I need 7 right now. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so I have my 7 images, and now I'm going to line them all in a row. So I'm just going to move them apart from each other for right now. So I have 7. Now I'm going to overlap them on the side bar of the shape. So they don't have to be all aligned in a straight line yet. Okay, so now that that is done, I'm going to click in the top of my screen and drag my mouse down to highlight all of them. Now I'm going to go to my Align area in the Properties menu, and I'm going to go to the V-Align and click this button here. Now they're all in a straight line. Now I'm going to right click and group these together. Now if I click off on the mat and then click the image again and move it around, it's one image. So now I need 5 of these. So I'm going to copy, paste. I'm just going to close this shapes area here, and then I'm going to paste again, and one more time. Okay, now I'm going to move these down, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line them up over top of the images, but this time I'm going on the top and bottom bars. And again, they can be over on the side. They don't have to be lined up. Now I'm going to click in my top of my mat and drag down again and use my H-Align, and now they're all aligned evenly. I'm going to right click and group these together. Then I'm going to go back in my Properties area, and I'm going to click Keep Proportions. Then I'm going to put the width at 11 inches, and that makes it so the squares inside of the grid stay a square and not turn into a rectangle. If I were to do that without keeping proportions, I'll show you what would happen. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this out on my Cricut using vinyl. Now you can do the same thing using paper and do different projects, but this is what we're going to do with the vinyl. Can you guess what the project is? I'm just going to take off the vinyl and reveal it to you. So I'm just taking these squares out here, and I'm going to be making a project for a shadow box. I purchased 2 shadow boxes shortly after I got married, which is over 3 years ago now, and I haven't figured out what I wanted to do with them. They came with a bunch of really tacky wedding kits, and I didn't plan on using those, but I got them at a liquidation store, and so I got them for very cheap. And I'm sure you can guess what that 5x7 grid is. And that is, I'm doing a calendar, and I'm doing a calendar shadow box. Alright, I've taken my vinyl off my mat, and I'm going to now put my transfer tape on my mat, and I'm going to put it grid side up. And again, I always use my mats when I'm using my transfer tape because it helps with frustration, I guess, because they peel up on the corners and roll up, and it's just, it can be a little bit frustrating. So it still comes up when you pull, but if you put your hand there, it just helps it stay in one place when you're trying to do your project. Alright, so I have my transfer tape up on, sticky side up, and now I'm going to put my grid on my transfer tape. So I'm just going to align it so it's straight and rub the grid down really well so it transfers onto the tape. And then you're just going to grab a corner and try peeling it back here. Now you want to peel back slowly and rub as you go to make sure that you're not going to have little puckers in your vinyl. Those can always be fixed, but it's easier if you do it really well the first time so you don't have to fix those little bubbles or puckers. Alright, so I have my shadow box, and I'm going to have it so it opens to the right. And then I'm just going to take my vinyl off of my mat. And you want to also, I'm just going to do it up here, you want to do that very carefully too, because if you pull it up, you will get puckers like I'm starting to get here. You want to do it very carefully. Again, another nice thing that about the Cricut vinyl is that it is repositionable, so even once you stick it down, if you have bubbles, it's not permanent. You can always fix those bubbles after. So now I'm going to put my grid on my shadow box window, and I'm just going to line that up. And press firmly on my glass. You want to make sure it's stuck really well and that there's no bubbles. Okay, so now we can peel this back. And again, you want to peel slowly. So you can see here, I have a few of these little bubbles. I'm just going to take my finger and gently push down and get them out. I got this really fun retro cardstock from Michaels. It was $4.99 for the pack. It was in the clearance. And I'm just going to grab some paper here that will coordinate with the photos that I'm with the colors that we did. Now this isn't a magnetic shadow box, but some of them are. This one is meant to put pins in, but I'm just going to use some double-sided tape because I want to switch this out every month that I use it for. And because I didn't do this at the beginning of February and the next month is March, I'm going to decorate this for March. Okay, so I finished decorating my shadow box on the inside, and I'll just show you what it looks like closed. So it's just a nice little background for a calendar. Now I can take this calendar grid and I can exchange the backgrounds for each month, or I can leave them the same, and I can use a dry erase marker and I can write on the glass for the calendar.